As you were driving down the Nu'uanu Poly Drive, what did you observe?
As we pass everybody, we go down. I see a male emerging from the brush area behind this tree, like the forest area, come across the roadway.
Can you describe the male that you observed?
Yeah, he was average height, maybe 5'7", 5'8". He was wearing a white shirt, blue pants, which he had like blood on his shirt.
Or what looked like blood?
What looked like blood appeared to be blood.
How close did you get to the male in the vehicle?
So after we continue to drive.
This is where things start to feel off. An officer isn't just describing a random person. He's describing someone emerging from the woods with what looks like blood on his clothes. That's not normal. That's the kind of detail that instantly changes the energy of a situation.
Did you recognize that male to be anybody relevant to your investigation?
Yes, the suspect.
And that's based on the description you were given?
Yes.
If you were able to see that person again, would you be able to recognize them?
Yes, I would.
If that person is in the courtroom, can you point to that person and let us know an article of clothing that they're wearing?
Sitting in the middle with the blue collared shirt.
And may the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant.
Record will reflect identification as we made.
Okay. And who did you ID the male as, name-wise?
Well, Garrett Koenig, sorry.
And notice how quickly suspicion turns into certainty. In court, there's no hesitation. The officer doesn't say, "I think." He points directly at the defendant. That moment matters because identification like this can heavily influence everything that follows.
So we put alongside. I told my other fellow officers in the car that was him, and then we pulled up, and then I put up alongside of him. I said, "Hey, police, stop, and let me see your hand."
Okay. Now, when you said, "Police, stop, let me see your hands," can you tell us what kind of voice you used when you do that?
I mean, I used kind of a loud, commanding voice so that he could hear.
Officer Nicola, I'm sorry, I'm going to ask you this. Do you mind demonstrating?
Yeah, so I pulled up and I said, "Hey, police, stop, let me see your hands."
And after you said that, did you give the defendant a chance to comply?
Yeah, so he looked at me. He looked back. Because I'm looking at him and he's looking at me when I said that.
Okay. So he's looking at you when you say, "Police, stop"?
Because he's up the van approaching because he runs in front of us because we come down.
And how long did you give him to comply with that demand?
I mean, I at that point, I'm just looking at him. Could have been, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds. He's just looking at me.
Okay. And after you see the defendant, you pull up, you tell him to stop, you guys look at each other, then what does the defendant?
Now this is the moment where everything could have gone differently. A simple command: stop, let me see your hands. This is the line between compliance and escalation.
And then put my vehicle in park. I exit my vehicle and I gave chase after him.
Did anybody else pursue as well?
Yeah, my other two partners are with me, but they were on the other side of the vehicle, so I didn't see when they came out or anything. I was just focused on running ahead of me.
So of the three officers, who got to the defendant first?
I did.
What happened when you got to the defendant?
So as I got closer, I reached out and I grabbed his right arm to try. I'm still yelling, "Police, stop, and I was able to grab onto his right arm.
After you grabbed the defendant's right arm, actually, pause that.
Yes.
Restart the question. You said you kept yelling, "Police, stop"?
Yes.
How many times?
I just kept yelling as I was running. Multiple times I just was yelling, "Police."
Okay. And going forward again now,
Yes.
after you grabbed the defendant's arm, what did the defendant do?
He tries to break my grip, so he tries to pull out and continue running away from me to get away from me.
And as the defendant's pulling away from you,
Right.
when you're grabbing his right arm, what happens with you and the defendant?
We're in this grassy, muddy area, so I lose my balance and he loses balance. We both fall on and I fall on top of him.
Right. Who falls on top of who?
I fell on top of him.
Okay, so now at this point, you and the defendant have both fallen, and you've fallen on top of him. What did the defendant do next?
Starts reaching for, he has this black, I don't know, side bag, I don't know what you call it. It's He has it around him. He starts to grab for it.
And once you see the defendant reaching for this bag, what do you do next?
That eye contact moment is powerful. Two people looking at each other, one trying to enforce the law, the other deciding whether to run. And in that split second, the choice is made. He runs.
Right. So at this point, now that you've gotten the bag away from the defendant, what happens next?
Well, he's still trying to push and fight, and he's trying to like grab all over. So I don't know what he's going for. He's reaching for his waist. He's going for his pants. So I don't know if he has a weapon or not. So I continue to try to gain control of him.
And as defendant's doing this, as he's reaching for his waist and all this, how do you attempt to gain control of the defendant?
So I give him some distractionary strikes to his large muscle group area.
Okay. And when you say distractionary strikes, could you explain for us what that means?
Well, I give him close fist strikes.
And when you say large muscle groups, what do you mean by that?
I'm trying to hit his arm areas and his legs.
And how many distractionary strikes did you do?
About 6 of them.
Ultimately, was the defendant apprehended
Yes, he was.
and arrested?
Yes.
After the defendant was arrested, what happened with his backpack?
So then
What follows is pure chaos. Adrenaline kicks in, and now it's no longer a conversation. It's a physical confrontation in an unpredictable environment. This part is critical. The suspect reaching for a bag, reaching toward his waist. From an officer's perspective, that's one of the most dangerous moments imaginable, because you don't know, is it nothing or is it a weapon?
Do you recognize what I've just handed you?
yes,
What are these?
the photos after he was placed under arrest.
And these are the photographs of the defendant.
Yes.
Do these photographs fairly and accurately depict the defendant as you observed him on March 24th, 2025?
Yes.
At this point, the state will move to enter 132, 235, 236, and 237 into evidence.
No objection. And what has been marked for identification as State's Exhibits 132, 235, 236, and 237 we received into evidence.
Okay, and permission to publish.
Granted.
Okay, Officer Nickel, I'm going to put those photos up on the screen. Starting with Exhibit 132. And now rotated correctly. Officer Nicola, what does this photograph show?
Full body picture of the suspect.
And what's that in the background of this photo?
That's the kind of grassy area that he ran into, or we ran to.
And how big are the trees back there?
Very big.
Publishing now State's Exhibit 235. And we'll rotate it correctly. Okay, Officer Nicola, what does this photo show us?
Closer view of his kind of upper chest area.
And now publishing State's Exhibit 236. And apologies, I might have to rotate it again. Okay, what does this photo show?
This is a left profile.
And lastly, Exhibit 237.
And this is where it becomes controversial. Distractionary strikes, that's the term used. But to a viewer, it raises a real question. Was this necessary force or excessive force?
I'm going to take the exhibits down. After you arrested the defendant, Officer Nicola, where did you take him?
Took him to Straub Hospital.
Why did you take the defendant to the hospital?
Just because when we took him down, there was force used and stuff, so we always take the suspect to the hospital.
Now the courtroom shifts from words to visuals. Photos don't just tell a story, they show reality. And sometimes that hits harder than any testimony. At the end of it all, the suspect is taken to the hospital, which tells you something important. Force was used, and it wasn't minor. And that's what makes cases like this complicated. It's not just about what happened, it's about whether every decision in those